It happens in less than 2 seconds.
A driver eases a 5-year-old luxury sedan into a quiet intersection. The steering wheel turns smoothly at first.
Leather seats, ambient lighting, a dashboard glowing with advanced safety technology worth thousands of dollars. Then suddenly, the wheel spins freely in the driver's hands.
No resistance, no response. The front tires stay frozen in their last position, while the vehicle continues moving forward like a missile with no guidance system. Panic floods the cabin.
Stability control flashes desperately across the instrument cluster. Lane assist activates. Collision warnings scream. But none of it matters anymore. Because the physical connection between the steering wheel and the steering rack is gone. A tiny corroded bolt has snapped under load.
And in that moment, a luxury car becomes an unguided projectile.
Modern used luxury cars are hiding a terrifying mechanical weakness deep beneath their front subframes, a weakness most owners will never see until it fails catastrophically.
While buyers obsess over mileage, infotainment systems, and leather quality, an invisible chemical reaction is silently destroying critical steering hardware underneath the vehicle.
Road salt, moisture, aluminum housings, and hardened steel fasteners are combining to create a perfect corrosion nightmare.
And the consequences are financially devastating. Repair bills exceeding $12,000. Vehicles declared total losses despite clean titles. Owners trapped with unusable cars still carrying enormous loan balances. Worst of all, many of these failures occur without warning. This is not a cosmetic rust issue. This is total steering collapse, and it's spreading rapidly through the used luxury market in 2026. The physics of a steering failure. To understand why this defect is so dangerous, you first need to understand how modern electric steering systems actually work. Most modern luxury sedans use electrically assisted rack and pinion steering assemblies mounted low behind the engine cradle. These systems rely on several high-strength Grade 8 fasteners that secure the steering rack housing directly to aluminum alloy mounting points. Under normal conditions, these bolts experience enormous stress. Every time the driver turns the wheel, torque transfers through the steering column into the rack assembly. During parking maneuvers or low-speed turns, steering loads spike dramatically because the tires resist movement against pavement friction. When those bolts remain structurally intact, the system works flawlessly. But once corrosion begins weakening the fasteners internally, the entire steering geometry becomes unstable. Dashcam footage from recent steering incidents reveals a horrifying pattern. The driver begins a normal turn. A faint metallic pop occurs underneath the vehicle, then immediate steering disconnect. The wheel suddenly rotates with almost no resistance because the rack housing has partially separated from the chassis mount. Instead of transferring steering input into tire movement, the rack shifts physically inside the subframe. The tires remain fixed. The vehicle continues forward. The driver instinctively countersteers harder, but the steering wheel no longer controls anything. And unlike tire blowouts or traction loss, electronic safety systems cannot compensate for a severed steering connection. Electronic stability control relies on functioning steering angle input. Lane-keeping systems rely on active steering response. Collision avoidance systems assume the front wheels can still change direction.
But once the rack loses structural integrity, the software becomes useless. The car's computers may know a collision is coming. They simply cannot stop it.
This is why steering rack bolt failures are uniquely catastrophic compared to other mechanical defects. The failure instantly bypasses every expensive safety system modern luxury vehicles advertise.
The science of galvanic destruction. The real horror begins at the molecular level. Most affected luxury vehicles combine hardened steel fasteners with lightweight aluminum steering housings. Manufacturers use aluminum because it reduces vehicle weight and improves fuel efficiency.
Unfortunately, aluminum and steel create a dangerous electrochemical pairing. When two dissimilar metals contact each other in the presence of an electrolyte, galvanic corrosion begins, and modern road salt acts like rocket fuel for this reaction. Winter road treatment chemicals in 2026 are far more aggressive than older sodium chloride mixtures. Many regions now use magnesium chloride and calcium chloride blends because they remain effective at lower temperatures. Once salty moisture penetrates beneath underbody shields and enters steering mounting points, an electrochemical battery forms between the steel bolts and aluminum housing. The aluminum sacrifices itself first. Oxidation spreads around the bolt channels. Protective coatings deteriorate. Tiny pockets of moisture become trapped permanently. Over time, corrosion expands internally where owners cannot see it. Then another process begins: hydrogen embrittlement. This phenomenon is especially dangerous for hardened grade 8 fasteners because microscopic hydrogen atoms penetrate the steel structure itself. The metal gradually loses ductility and becomes brittle at the crystalline level. Externally, the bolt may appear normal. Internally, it transforms into glass. Each steering cycle creates microscopic fractures. Each winter accelerates expansion. Eventually, one final steering input exceeds the remaining structural tolerance. Snap. The bolt shears instantly. In many recovered steering failures, investigators discovered bolts that had lost more than 60% of their original structural strength before fracture occurred. Even worse, corrosion often hides beneath mounting surfaces where inspections rarely occur. Owners see a clean luxury vehicle. Meanwhile, underneath the car, critical hardware is disintegrating silently.
The secondary market time bomb. Right now, the used luxury market is being flooded with off-lease sedans entering their second ownership cycle. Most premium leases last between 3 and 5 years. That means thousands of luxury vehicles exposed to multiple winter seasons are now appearing on dealer lots across North America and Europe.
To unsuspecting buyers, these cars seem like incredible bargains. A $70,000 sedan selling for $28,000. Advanced safety technology, luxury interiors, powerful turbocharged engines, prestigious branding. What buyers don't realize is that many of these vehicles are entering the exact age window where hidden corrosion becomes critical. The first owner often never experiences the issue because the vehicle remains under warranty during early corrosion stages. But by year 5 or 6, structural degradation accelerates dramatically.
That makes second owners the financial victims. Vehicle history reports rarely reveal the danger because no collision occurs before failure. No insurance claims appear, no check engine lights activate, no diagnostic codes exist for microscopic steering corrosion. The car appears perfectly healthy on paper.
Even dealership-certified inspections often miss the issue because modern service departments prioritize electronic scans over physical hardware verification. Technicians connect diagnostic computers, they inspect sensors, they verify software updates, but very few manually remove steering rack bolts to inspect corrosion beneath mounting surfaces.
Why? Because it's labor-intensive. Accessing these components often requires partial subframe disassembly. That means dangerous vehicles continue passing through auctions and dealerships undetected.
Then comes the financial nightmare. Once severe galvanic corrosion takes hold, repairs become staggeringly expensive. In many cases, replacing bolts alone is impossible because the aluminum mounting channels themselves have degraded. Entire steering racks require replacement. Subframes become damaged. Electronic steering modules need recalibration. Labor costs explode because technicians must dismantle suspension assemblies, exhaust sections, and drivetrain components for access.
Repair estimates routinely exceed $8,000 to $12,000. And here's the brutal reality. Many of these vehicles are no longer worth that amount. Owners become trapped in impossible situations. They still owe money on financing. The car cannot be safely driven. The vehicle effectively becomes financially totaled, not because of a crash, because of a bolt.
The industry blind spot. Manufacturers frequently market steering assemblies as lifetime components. The implication is clear: owners should never need to worry about them. But independent repair shops across snowy regions are discovering a very different reality. Technicians report seeing the same corrosion patterns repeatedly across multiple luxury brands: white powdery oxidation around rack mounts, swollen aluminum channels, rust streaks bleeding from bolt heads, seized fasteners fused permanently into housings.
Yet, despite growing evidence, widespread public recalls remain rare. Why? Because proving corrosion-related steering failure is legally complicated. Manufacturers often classify the issue as environmental exposure rather than design defect. Instead of massive recalls, some brands quietly issue technical service bulletins to dealerships. These internal documents instruct technicians on updated bolt coatings, revised torque procedures, or corrosion inspection guidelines. But most consumers never see these bulletins, and unlike official recalls, dealerships are not always required to proactively notify owners.
The result is a dangerous information gap. Owners assume their vehicles are safe because no recall exists. Meanwhile, independent mechanics continue documenting severe corrosion failures behind closed shop doors.
There's another uncomfortable truth manufacturers rarely discuss. Modern luxury vehicles are engineered for weight reduction above almost everything else. Aluminum saves fuel, smaller fasteners reduce mass, compact packaging improves efficiency. But these design choices also reduce long-term corrosion tolerance compared to older, overbuilt mechanical systems.
That works beautifully during warranty periods. Long-term durability becomes someone else's problem, usually the second owner's problem.
Survival and prevention strategies. The good news is that catastrophic steering failure is often preventable if detected early. The key is knowing exactly what to inspect.
The first warning sign is white powdery oxidation around aluminum steering components. This chalk-like residue indicates active galvanic corrosion. Buyers should inspect underneath the front subframe using a flashlight.
Pay close attention to steering rack mounting points, bolt heads surrounded by white residue, rust trails emerging from aluminum housings, swollen or bubbling metal surfaces, cracked protective coatings, moisture trapped behind underbody panels.
Any visible corrosion near steering hardware should trigger immediate professional inspection. Owners in snowy climates should also perform aggressive underbody washing throughout winter, especially after exposure to magnesium chloride road treatments.
That's why many independent specialists now recommend proactive hardware replacement. Aftermarket titanium bolt kits are becoming increasingly popular because titanium resists galvanic interaction far better than hardened steel. Combined with specialized anti-corrosion sealants, these upgrades can permanently eliminate future electrochemical reactions. And surprisingly, the total cost often remains under $500 if performed before severe damage occurs. Compared to a $12,000 steering replacement, preventative treatment is incredibly cheap. Current owners should also request manual steering hardware inspections rather than relying solely on electronic dealership diagnostics. A proper inspection includes physical bolt removal, thread examination, torque verification, corrosion mapping, subframe integrity checks, protective coating evaluation. Because computers cannot detect a bolt about to snap. The most terrifying mechanical failures are the invisible ones. Not dramatic explosions, not smoking engines, but tiny chemical reactions quietly eating away at critical hardware, while drivers remain completely unaware. That's exactly what's happening beneath thousands of used luxury cars right now. A hidden corrosion process is transforming prestigious vehicles into potential steering disasters, capable of causing catastrophic crashes and financial ruin. And the scariest part? Most owners will never know until it's too late. Because when a steering rack bolt finally snaps, there is no gradual failure sequence, no safe mode, no software protection, no second chance. Only the horrifying realization that the steering wheel in your hands is no longer connected
to the tires beneath you.